Oh, how the cold feet have crumbled. All right, we're going to have to talk about Steven Crowder, the insufferable, just words I can't say because I don't want to swear in the first 2 minutes. So, looks like we're just going to have to get to the video, I guess. I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to. All right, so there's this dude. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but there's kind of this right wing douche that acts like he's in middle school that's been making videos for forever. He has had a huge budget, um, doing, a lot of like green screen, like looking like it's the movies, a lot of like modern SNL type of stuff, but way more douchey. And we all know like Saturday Night Live is kind of falling off, right? Well, this dude is like SNL at its absolute worst. Like it's like SNL when like all like the COVID was going through and like all the writers got sick, and so they were just like making up stuff as they went just to keep the show going. That's Steven Crowder's show all the time, and except that it's also targeting minorities constantly. Just some of the grossest takes you could possibly possibly have. Just a piece of garbage. He's just an awful, awful person. And I mean, he does like um, he dressed like the one. He like did he like dressed up like an Asian guy, and like the very overly stereotypical, which in a lot of ways doesn't even make sense. I don't even get why this is stereotypical, but it's like with the teeth, the big teeth, the big eyes, with just very offensive, just really gross stuff. He would do that. He would also do like impressions. Like the main thing that he did was just impressions of like black people and stuff, and like impressions of Middle Eastern people, just pretty much just impressions of different cultures that he thinks are beneath him, and he makes fun of them that way. That was sort of the majority of his whole bag, right? He also did he was also famous for these like change my mind type of things where he would go out to college campuses, and he would sit there and say, he would put out like this table, and it would say something like there are only two genders, change my mind, right? And then he would have like he would have these students line up, and the students at the college would have like a make a very impromptu debate that they were not prepared for, right? Of course, he was prepared with all sorts of talking points and misrepresented information and things like that. So he came off looking pretty good against the college students that were completely unprepared. Yeah. And anytime he was trying, we tried to get him, I say we, but like audience members tried to get him uh to debate someone more of his information level and knows like what he's talking about. He would back out. The only time I really saw him attempt to debate somebody was somebody who literally said that they're not really big into debate. They don't really do debate, and that was Ethan Klein. And so Ethan Klein brought on somebody that did debate. You know, and it surprised the heck out of Steven Crowder. And he brought on Sam Cedar, who is very good at debating. Has done several debates even just recently that I think I am going to try to cover here pretty soon, maybe on a weekend when we can stream it together and hang out while we do it. But yeah, he backed out of that. The promoter of I think it was Politicon, that had reached out to Sam Cedar to let him know that the debate is no longer going to happen and he's going to have to debate somebody else, had said that his manager wouldn't let him, and his manager is his dad. So yeah, basically his dad won't let him debate Sam Cedar. I can't help but just hear it, like Crowder like calling from his room, like he won't leave his room to talk to his dad, who's his manager. Like, Dad, I want to debate Sam Cedar. Come on, I want to do it. Like have that whole That's just every time I think about that whole interaction, that's all I hear is him shouting through his bedroom door. His bedroom's a mess. He's still in middle school, so it's just so funny. All right. So this is from Media Matters, and Steven Crowder is not doing great for a myriad of reasons, some of which I'm actually like whatever about, other reasons I'm, glad that he's actually getting called out for it. So let's take a look at this. This is from Media Matters. Uh, and it is an article called, let's see what the actual article is called. Steven Crowder's Empire of Hate Collapses. So it's pretty on the nose, which is awesome. But all right, so let's get down. I skipped down to a little bit because um it just kind of goes over the summary, right? But so let's take. So it says Crowder's once strong media presence appears to be collapsing. How did this happen? In January, Crowder began a public war with the Daily Wire. This is what I'm saying. It's like, okay, so a lot of this happened just because he picked a fight with other awful people, which is kind of like, okay, well, I wish he would be held responsible for more of the for other reasons. Let's just say, like, I wish this collapse would have been for better reasons. But let's see here. And so in January, Crowder began a public war with the Daily Wire. It all started when Crowder accused an unnamed conservative platform of being in league with big tech against conservative creators. The next day, the next day, Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring posted a video confirming that the unnamed platform was, in fact, the Daily Wire. He spent 30 minutes explaining the terms of the dream contract, is what he calls it, the dream contract, that the Daily Wire offered Crowder, which included 4 weeks of paid vacation. Keep in mind, that's something that this is just the irony here is so thick because he got punched by a union worker when he worked to Steven Crowder got punched by a union worker back when he was working with Fox News. And he's against stuff like this. Why do you think you get to need, this vacation? So you just want to get paid for not working, you lazy butts. Yeah, that's what, and he said shit like that so hard he got punched, anyway. And for good reason. They were kind of like pushing it, like it was more violent on their end, let's just say. Um, but paid vacation. That's just funny that is included in this contract. Full editorial control over content, a staff gets his own staff, and the right to retain ownership of any previously created content. That's a big one too, because a lot of times when you sign contracts to new companies like this, you kind of like lose your ownership to everything you've made. That's pretty common in these circles, these media circles, so as well as a 50 million as $50 million, right? So like that's a shitload of money, man. It's crazy when he could sit there and he literally called this the slave contracts. 50 million. Yeah, pretty sure slaves would be doing much better than the grandkids of slaves would be doing much better if they made 50 million fucking dollars, doing anything. So Crowder not only publicly rejected the deal, but he played a secretly recorded tape of him and Boring discussing the possible contract. This was too much for the Daily Wire. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. It's because he came out. It was like this whole thing. I remember it right when it happened. I can't remember if I covered it or not. I might even be able to go back and look up if I made a video about it. Him just calling out some company. And we were all just like, what is he talking about? But a lot of people that were more involved in those circles like knew right away that he was talking about the Daily Wire, because I guess it was sort of like discussed on the internet that the Daily Wire was going to be reaching out to him because his contract was up with something. So, that it was pretty obvious that that's who he was talking about. And he came on and said, oh, they're in league with big tech. And basically, his problem was what he was trying to say was because he would lose money if he gets banned on YouTube or if he gets banned on Facebook or if he gets banned on anything like that. He would lose a portion of what he was supposed to make, right? And that was his big problem. Was like, oh, so you're bending over backwards to big tech and making it so we can't, profit the entire time. We have to like walk on eggshells to not offend the companies that put out your content. Yeah, man. Like most, it's so stupid. That's like basically getting mad at like Comcast or something if they don't put your, like if your TV show is too offensive for their channel. It's like Comcast is the one that puts out your show. Yeah, you kind of need them to not to approve of what you are putting out there, right? So it's just crazy. It's just the logic is just like, wow, this dude he just thinks that he is incredible. I don't know. I mean, that's all I can really say. Um, so it's great. So Ben Shapiro called Crowder nasty on his podcast. He went on to express his condemnation of Crowder along with a full timeline of the events, which precipitated the escalating war between the Daily Wire and the YouTuber. Daily Wire host Candace Owens went on the attack as well. It was actually quite funny to watch Candace Owens sort of go go crazy about this. It was very entertaining, I have to say. Let's see. She long time about Daily Wire was Candace Owens' attack as well, accusing Crowder of a bitch move and calling him a socialist. And we all know socialist is the worst of insults. That is just like, yeah, your mama's a socialist. What? Yeah. Like it's crazy how they just throw these words around. Like there's just, but that really hurt. I bet you socialists be calling them that hurt more than anything. Anything. The bitch move, that's fine. Whatever. He's bi, so it doesn't really matter. That's a whole thing I'll get into later. She went on to make vague threats of revealing personal and damaging information about Crowder if he did not cease his assault on her employer. So, yeah, and she did she did put out some personal information. Let's see. It turns out that damaging personal information, though, was about to be exposed anyway. In April, Yashar Ali published a Ring camera video of Crowder's property, which showed the YouTuber verbally abusing his wife, Hillary. And it's so funny that her name is Hillary. I'm sorry. I know that's like completely unrelated. It's not, but it's just funny. Okay. It's just, one of those coincidental comic situations there. Um, in the videos, Crowder told his pregnant wife, "I will fuck you up," and ordered her to perform wifely duties. What the fuck? Who talks like that? Crowder and his wife have been, and he did use that word, those words, wifely duties. Crowder and his wife have been in a contentious divorce since December 2021. A conservative radio host, Eric Erickson. Oh, really? Okay. I mean, guess Eric is Eric's son. I don't know. I mean, that's noted there was a scant defense of Crowder after this video was released. The damage only continued in May. The New York Post revealed that Crowder has a long history of abusing his staff. So another thing that they left out, one of the damaging that was part of the damaging information that Candace Owens put out, but she also and I thought this was too funny, right? Crowder went through this whole thing about how he had to take a break for a little bit because he had a surgery. And so he had something wrong with his heart, he said, and just all this stuff, like it's kind of like medical jargon, right? So he's like, that's why I'm not going to be able to be on this show for a little bit. I'm actually going to have to not I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break because I need some medical attention and I have to go get a surgery for it. So it's that's my Stephen Crowder impression, just by the way. I know it doesn't sound much different anyway. But It turns out, according to Candace Owens, what she put out was it had nothing to do with his heart. It had nothing to do with anything like that, anything medically necessary. What had happened was he was very um, insecure about the shape of his chest, which I guess it was like he has like one. It's more like concave or something like that. Like it doesn't bulge out like he wanted it to, like to be the big, muscle guy. Yeah. And so he went and had an elective surgery to correct that, right? To make it so his chest would appear to be bigger or would be a different shape or whatever that he was found more pleasing. Cosmetic surgery, which keep in mind if you're trans, he's literally pushing to have people take those rights away from anyone that's trans if they, that wants to, I don't know, get some kind of elective surgery. But he gets to do it though, because, the rules don't apply to the right. It just applies to all the people they want to stick in boxes. You know what I mean? So that was just funny, because it's like, oh, and he really is insecure. That's one thing that has really kind of come through as of late. He seems really cocky and everything, of course, real cocky, real like trying, like, oh, everything just slides off my back, but it obviously doesn't. Everything affects him a lot worse than what he's making it seem like. Anyway, the damage only continued in May. The New York Post revealed that Crowder has a long history of abusing his staff. This included screaming, including at his father, Darren. It almost reminds like this, and I know this is like a crazy, nonsensical side note thing here, but like, it reminds me of there was this one episode of Parks and Rec, and I think it was that Bo guy. I think it was Bo Burnham or whatever. Like he was a guest, and he was playing this country singer kid, and like he was like abusive to his dad, who was his manager, and he's like, "If I want to shoot my dad with a paintball gun, that's what I'm gonna do." And he like shoots. He's like, "Good shot, son." It just reminds me of that so much, too. Anyway, who acts as his booker manager, really. I mean, that's what everybody else has used the word manager, but as well as exposing his genitals. Fucking what? He exposes his genitals to employees. I'm sorry, that's just what is he in middle school, man? Like he's doing the fucking like, oh, you looked at my balls, now I get to kick you like game that dumbass kids played in middle school. And even then, there were middle schoolers like, are we a little above this, man? you know, to his employees. Mediaite followed this reporting in July that Crowder created a workplace that was rife with bullying. No shit, really. That's sort of his whole show's thing. It's crazy when people go to work for somebody that makes a show that is completely based on bullying through media and everything, just like being mean, and bullying people. And then like once they get there, like, oh wait, this work environment's kind of like bullyish. This is crazy. I never would have thought that Steven Crowder would bully people on the set. That's crazy. What? Come on, man. Wait, snap out of it. Jeez Louise. Alarming and unprecedented or unpredictable behavior, as well as lewd sexual workplace misconduct. In addition to the sexual harassment, and I want to make it clear, in addition to the gay sexual harassment, because he was exposing his genitals to other men, which is pretty fucking gay, if you ask me. It's too weird. I keep on encountering people that are in their attempt to be homophobic end up sounding gay. It's crazy. I just the other day I had a conversation. The guy said that anytime anybody says that anyone is gay or anything like that, they're just talking about how they fuck. And I was like, what? Like, so all you're doing is thinking about the way people fuck anytime it's mentioned. So you got gay sex on the brain, bro. That's what that is. That sounds kind of gay. Sounds gay. All right. Now, I'm just saying. All right. You might want to figure out how to rephrase that to not make it sound like you're gay. It's like when you're so homophobic, you loop back around and now you're gay. Like it's crazy. I don't, it's wild how that works so often. But it's this infantile, bullshit. This, acting like you're 10 years old, and it's just crazy how it works like that. But let's see. Chronic theories rife with bullying, alarming and unpredictable behavior, as well as lewd sexual workplace conduct, in addition to sexual harassment. The reporting also stated that Crowder would offer and ask employees for drugs, including Klonopin and opiates. Jesus. All right. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and shame too much about those things. Those are two things that I have actually, I've been prescribed both of them. And, but they're very difficult to stop. I'll just say, after having been prescribed both of those, they are very difficult to stop. But you can do it. There are thankfully, so, medical programs that are very helpful on that. And if you have issues with that, just you can email me at unapologetics, spelled with an X. At the end, 666 at gmail.com, and I can send you some resources to help if you're struggling with those kind of things, because I know it's hard. It's hard to get past that. But still, the dude is the type of guy that has been running around shaming people for that type of stuff, and then here he is doing it too. It's just all this is doing is shining even more light onto his hypocrisy, right? And it's insane. So on his show, Crowder responded to the allegations that he sent pictures of his genitals to male employees, groomerish behavior, according to an ex-staffer, by doing a skit in which he showed his genitalia to a staffer. Oh, so he made wow, God, he's a child. He's like, oh, we can make a skit out of this. This is brilliant. I can work with this. This is perfect. Yeah, Jesus Christ, he's such an idiot. Crowder has long been a bully on air. After Columbus police shot and killed Makai Bryant in 2022, for example, Crowder mocked her weight. And Jesus, he once claimed a disproportionate number of trans people are rapists and pedophiles, and said, I would like to send out gangs of of that word, the R word, people to lynch pedophiles. My goodness, what the fuck? Yeah, that's insane. He's a racist. He used the N word on his YouTube show. He has frequently attacks the LGBTQ people and women. What the reporting about Crowder demonstrates is that he is a bully, both on camera and off. Yeah, no kidding. I'm not going to even watch all that. Crowder has received an almost constant stream of YouTube suspensions. Most recently, he was suspended after allowing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones to host his show. Alex Jones was kicked off of YouTube for good reason. He was kicked off of everything. It's not like and it's not like Crowder didn't know this. This is obvious. It's just crazy that and so he was constantly getting strikes. And so he would also move over to Rumble, which is a much looser, basically zero oversight or anything like that. I don't even know if they do anything about anybody reporting anything. You could probably stream. Well, I'm not even going to say. You could probably stream some really sick stuff on there. He and Jones have been getting closer in their professional relationship, an indication that as Crowder declines in popularity, he is turning to more extreme outlets. In March, Crowder signed a deal with Rumble, to allow the extreme right-wing platform to exclusively manage his content. Viewership of his shows on Rumble this year, though, clearly show his audience is rapidly dwindling. So, which is awesome, thank goodness for that. It's like, my God, the dude is just such a piece of garbage. It's insane. But yeah, its numbers completely dropped off. It's just awesome. I mean, it was just, chef's kiss of, just wonderful. I'm just so happy that he's finally getting some. because he's always been such a fucking prick, and such a dickhead. He acts like he's so smart and good at this stuff, but everything all like it's all based on him choosing the platform and what the other people are basically allowed to know. That's why he only goes after college kids that are not expecting to debate that day. And then it's just sort of dropped on him. He just sort of shows up, and they're like, oh, as the kids start lining up to talk to him. And even then, they still like a lot of times they will bring up points that he stumbles to try to discredit, usually bringing misrepresenting some kind of stat or statistic, like some type of issue where it's like it's easy to misrepresent the data, kind of thing. Almost like where they could say like only more white people get killed by police than black people. It's like a stat like that, because that stat is true, but it's like, yeah, but if you look at the percentage of the, if the white people make up the majority of the population, right? So you have to consider that. This is how numbers work. You have to consider things like that. So when you just make a statement like that, right wingers though, they don't want to think about it any further. They just want that information that confirms what they'd already like to think, right? And that's it. And so, yeah, but he does a lot of shit like that. It's like that statistics, some of the statistics, damn lies and statistics or whatever, lies, damn lies and statistics or whatever. Kind of like it's called p hacking, is another way to talk about it. It's where you can mess with the stats and the numbers to make it seem like the information is saying one thing when it's actually not. It's real easy to manipulate. But yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that and talk for a minute about how wonderful it is that Steven Crowder is finally getting some, I was like, of all this time, it's like, okay, thank goodness. I don't have to think about this moron anymore. He's just so obnoxious. And just the fact that he's getting like as humiliated, I think, as he attempts to humiliate the people that he hates, is well, that's delightful. It's just, and that's the thing. Here's the thing: when it comes to like ridiculing people and all this type of stuff, I am very much a believer in the categorical imperative, right? So if every action that you do, whether it's to determine whether it's moral or immoral, you basically consider every action to be a standard, right? You make it a standard. Right? So like if this is a standard, then this can be done back to you, right? And so you should be accepting of it, right? All right wing everything. It's in violation of the universal the categorical imperative, because they don't want to be treated the way that they want to be able to treat other people, right? And so that's kind of how that's how I determine certain things. Like I'm not going to mistreat people, that are kind, good people, right? But if they have a belief system that says that they get to mistreat a group of people, well, then that gives me a bit more freedom to mistreat you, right? And all I'm going to do is make fun of you. You know what I mean? I don't really have much, but that is kind of how. And I'm not going to make fun of them for things that would be offensive to other people. I'm going to make fun of them for strictly their behavior, and that's it. Maybe that they look like something, but nothing disparaging. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, I don't do like Steven Crowder does. That's my point, and I really want to make clear here. Even though I do make a lot of fun, you know, but a lot of these people that I'm making fun of are just harmful people, and they wouldn't think twice about doing that exact same thing to somebody that they don't like. Somebody like me, who's a queer atheist, just saying. But well, thanks so much, y'all, for hanging out. This is awesome. I'm going to try to do a lot more videos like this and, try to keep up with some of this stuff. And hey, if you want to keep up your something else, then go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley at checkout to get 50% off almost any one item, 3 free gifts, 6 free movies, and free shipping on the entire order. Just go to adamandeve.com. Enter code word Brentley. That's Brently. And yeah, they just head out to that, and it's it's awesome. It is a superstore of just stuff. I mean, I don't know if you could see it here on say this. There's a cowgirl premium sex machine. They have a sex machine. That's a that's something that is on this website. I didn't even know something like that existed until I made this poster, and I was like, "This place is awesome." They also have fleshlights. They have every kind of vibrator you could possibly think of. It's incredible. Definitely head out to adamandeve.com. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It's just good stuff, just good, wholesome fun. You know what I mean? But well, thanks again so much for hanging out. I love hanging out with y'all. I am gonna start doing live streams on the weekends. It's gonna be on Sundays. This Sunday we're gonna be hanging out with the Skeptic. Not sure if y'all are familiar. He is the circle, the very sarcastic circle that breaks down different apologist claims and whatnot. It's really a fun guy, and he's going to be coming on this weekend and hanging out. So make sure you show up this Sunday to catch that because it's going to be great. And make sure to stay logical, loving, skeptical. Oh wait, and like and subscribe if you made it this far, please. That'd be great. And what I was going to say: stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we'll see you next time.